Hello, everybody. My name is Colton with Narrative Inc., and I'm here with an awesome friend and self published author, Boo Ludlow. Boo, could you give yourself an introduction?
My name is Boo Ludlow. I live out here in Utah with my wife and finger-eating baby. As Colton mentioned, I'm a self-published author. Last year, I self-published my debut novel, The Failed Technomancer, and I've been hard at work since then. Not on the sequel, but I have another full novel that is with Bain that I've submitted to Bain Publishing.
Mhm.
I've submitted a short story to Writers of the Future, and I should hear about both of those next year, February or March. So it's I'm either going to have an amazing year, a first quarter, or a terrible first quarter next year. We're going to see. And I'm working on the next novel right now, so I don't believe in stopping.
There you go. I mean, you're working hard. It takes a lot uh, to self publish. And I remember last time you talking about the process itself. But really, I'm in the editing process. I'm pretty close to publishing. But really, I just want to know what was your experience like with self publishing? What was the most difficult parts? What were your favorite parts? Yeah, we'll go from there.
I really enjoyed self-publishing. Um, Most difficult parts versus favorite parts. Just getting the book published,
Mm.
I think, is probably my favorite part. Just having it out there, knowing that people can grab it. Um, Maybe tied for that position is actually holding a physical copy of the book in my hands. I've actually got a copy right here. This is not the original.
Gotcha.
This is not the original test print version, but
Okay.
it is a pretty early version that I printed and kept for, uh, as a keepsake. And wow, that was a rush, popping open the cardboard box and pulling it out and having the physical copy.
Yeah.
Of course, I've got a lot of respect for ebook and audio, and I did both of those for my book.
Yeah.
But there's just something different about holding the physical copy, smelling the page. I love the smell of a brand new book.
I
Uh,
I can
that
agree
is,
with you right there. That's it. There's something about smelling a book that's just nice.
oh yeah. And the hardest part, I would say, was the business side of
Mm.
things. I originally pursued traditional publishing because I just wanted to focus on the writing and
Yeah.
editing. Um, I don't really like the direction. I mean, yes, I didn't get accepted by any of the agents that I submitted to. Otherwise, I most likely would be traditionally published right now. So that is part
Gotcha.
of it. But I do think the more that I submitted to different agents, the more that I learned about the publishing industry,
Mm.
the more I really wanted to take my fate into my own hands. And I don't really like a lot of most of the agents that I could find seemed more concerned about the identity of the author than they did about the quality of the book.
Okay.
And that is something that I see as an issue in publishing today, and I didn't want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Now, I have submitted a book to Bain, so obviously I've since then found publishers that I really liked
Yeah.
what I've learned about them. But at the time, I felt like indie publishing was the best way to go, and I'm glad I did it. It was a good growing experience. And sorry, I got off topic. I didn't like the business side of things.
Gotcha.
I didn't
No, you're good.
enjoy. I did not enjoy setting up a DBA. I did not enjoy signing up for 700,000 websites. I did not enjoy the legal tax side of things, figuring that stuff out, learning what an S corp is, setting up business. It was that stuff's all freaking obnoxious, and
Yeah.
I've got a libertarian streak in me. The more that I worked on that stuff, the more I was like, this should just be as easy as saying it's what I'm going to do. Why are they making this so hard?
Yeah. Agreed. I mean, I don't think a lot of you bring up a really good point. I don't think a lot of writers who are like, hey, I'm going to self publish because I can control everything and do it on my own. I don't think a lot of them really understand how much you have to do. And it's not just the marketing, the editing, and all the parts that go into the book, it's everything else surrounding the book too.
Oh yeah.
That is just insane and that people just they just don't know.
Oh yeah, and I got pretty lucky
Mm.
because my editor, I hired Loose Leaf Publishing,
Okay.
and the reason I hired them is because Christy Kugler, the founder of Loose Leaf, was one of my teachers at BYU,
Oh,
and
okay.
so I already had a relationship. I
Yep.
already knew that I liked her style. I already knew that she edited books that fit within the vibe that I wanted
Mm.
to do. So that part was easy for me. I have a lot of family members who do art, who like studied at school, who
Gotcha.
are working on doing it professionally. So it's like I didn't have to network online the way other people do in order to get a good cover.
Gotcha.
I have a cousin who does audio mixing. Sorry, not a cousin, a brother-in-law. So in those three areas, I got really lucky because I already had connections.
Hmm.
I don't even want to imagine how much more difficult it would have been if I was one of those authors that had to do everything from scratch, because that would have made the process a lot longer.
Yeah.
And I don't say that to discourage authors who are interested in indie publishing. Like anyone who's listening right now, it's worth it. Just keep in mind there's a lot of moving facets that you get to take care of yourself.
I mean, that's basically my whole platform is what I'm trying to do is trying to help people. And I coming into the new year, I am going to be doing a lot of information about the business side of it. Right now, I'm mainly just doing writing advice, habits, how to build up those. But really, yeah, getting that information out there of the business side is going to be a big chunk of next year because that's where I'm headed. I should be publishing my book in February, and so getting all of that.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. It's been a long road, but I'm really excited. I'm very happy with the journey. But getting all that information is out there is going to be really important, and being that type of resource. And so I would love it if, off the record, we could just you could help me with a checklist of just everything that like you would suggest that people should learn about when self-publishing.
Yeah, we can collaborate. That sounds like a good idea.
Awesome.
Um, my question to you, are you going wide or are you going exclusive?
I'm going wide for this one
Okay.
because of the mentorship and people that I'm working with. I am still self-publishing, but I am working with some people that have been guiding me along the process. And so, and with this book especially, because it's essentially the foundation of Narrative Inc. and my business, yeah, I'm going wide. But in the
Okay.
future, I
That's
want to
cool.
go exclusive because I don't like that smiley company, and I want to own and control everything as much as I can.
I wonder if we're using the same terms right now. By wide, you mean you're putting it on as many storefronts as you possibly can, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Wait, so you want to go exclusive with Amazon in the future?
Okay, yeah, I had those mixed up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. So
I
you
was
so you're
thinking
go,
of
so you're going the you're going Kindle Unlimited with this one, and then in the future you want to go wide.
yes. There you go.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I was confused there. But yes, that's my
It's an
plan
easy thing to switch
for
around.
that in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's yeah, it's a little bit of a pain going wide because you have to make an account for every
Yeah.
single website. But I don't know. There's advantages and disadvantages to both.
Yeah. No, I agree. Well, yeah, I guess I had a bit confused, but thank you for that clarification. That is really good to know. Um, and so for you, how was your launch? How much did you do beforehand? How much did you do afterwards? Because marketing and all those are a consistent battle. Like what was your launch like?
I'm not gonna lie, it was terrible.
Okay.
But I also kind of planned for crickets for my launch,
Okay.
and there's a reason. Well, there's two big reasons for that. Reason number one is I didn't budget very well and
Oh,
spent all of my money on editing,
gotcha.
and the cover and the voice acting stuff.
Mhm.
Well, I voice acted my own book,
Yeah.
but I spent all the money on all the budget that I had on the editing, on the art,
Mhm.
and on my brother-in-law doing the sound mixing after I got the audio files. So I didn't have any money for advertising.
Mm.
Although part of the reason that I went that direction was because everything that I've learned about self-publishing has, or almost everything I've learned about self-publishing has taught me that most of the money comes from the backlog.
Right.
Um, you use a loss leader to get people in, and then and then they get hooked, hopefully, and they buy all of your other stuff at full price. And the more that I learned about the common uh, business strategies and marketing strategies in the indie sphere, the more I was like, I think advertising is a waste of time if I have just one book. I want to have at least three out. And then I think it would be worth the investment. So those were the two things. Because I didn't think it was worth the investment, I spent all of my budget on editing.
Gotcha.
They played into each other a little bit.
Yeah. But I mean,
Oh, I should say this. I did give myself some free marketing, but I did a lot of research on different booktubers and book reviewers, and I reached out to them. And it's free for me to email them a copy of the ebook or a download code for the audiobook. And only one. Well, I had like 5 people that took me up on the offer. Only one has followed through. Like I don't say that to be down on any of them because they're all very, very busy. But I'm really grateful for Narrative Inc. for giving me a review on not Narrative Inc. Sorry, the Nerdy Narrative. They both use narrative in the name.
Yeah.
Leslie at Nerdy Narrative gave me a review. I'm really grateful for that.
That's good. No, that's awesome. I mean, there's so many books out there that it can be hard to like build a platform and really get people to do your stuff, especially if you are kind of an unknown. Like you mentioned, getting those 3 books or multiple books out before you really like push stuff. I think is really good. So my next question, leading from the launch and all of this experience you've had, what are you going to do different next time for your self-publishing and not after you've been reaching out to traditional publishing?
I'm going to do almost everything different next time. And it's not that I don't like what I did the first time. It's just that because I don't have an audience, I am excited at the amount of opportunity I have to experiment. To use Sanderson as an example, everyone's expecting the next book. He's got a huge audience. Everyone's expecting him to finish the next series. When he did his secret projects, he talked about how these were books he thought he would never be able to write because he was in too much of a schedule. Well, I'm in the exact opposite position. I can throw every idea that I have at the fan right now, and if I get lucky and something sticks and becomes a hit, I'm obviously going to run with that. But if it doesn't, like, what have I got to lose? I'm a nobody right now. So with the first book I did indie. With the second book, I'm trying to go with I think Bain is technically a mid-sized publisher.
Yeah, they're not one of the big 5, but they are known-ish. Within the space.
They've got some respect. And they do good stuff. I like what they do. And then for book 3, I actually want to try the Kickstarter route. I've been pretty lucky with the people I already know. I've got a friend who has who worked with for a while. He worked with Future House Publishing in Provo. So he knows a lot more about the business side of publishing than I do, and he has run several successful Kickstarters for Future House. And my brother, the girl he recently married, her art, she does these beautiful watercolors that I think is just perfect for the story I'm writing right now. And I talked with both of them and said, hey, if I finish this book and you like it, would you guys want to do a Kickstarter with me? And they both were like, heck yes. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that I can start that process. I mean, I'm writing the book now, but I'm hoping next year we can officially start a Kickstarter.
In 2024 or 2025?
I should say 2024. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
It would be at the end of 2024 probably.
Cool. No, that's awesome. I think a lot of authors like before did think about Kickstarter, and I've seen a lot of book type projects on there, but especially after Sanderson's, 40 whatever $1 million Kickstarter, I think people are like, oh, hey, this is a more viable path than we thought before.
Oh yeah, it blew the doors wide open.
And not just for him or for authors, but for the publishing industry as a whole, I think.
Yeah. The big risk of Kickstarter, and this is actually a risk that's in Kindle Unlimited too, is the nice thing about those platforms is they have really big existing audiences that will support a whole lot of things because they're there and they like the platform. That's the big upside. The big downside is a good chunk of them are loyal to the platform, not to the individual author. And so your uphill battle might not be to find a temporary audience there. It will be to keep that audience long term.
Yeah.
And so I'm expecting to have some of those battles when I do my eventual Kickstarter, but at least it's good to know.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think it's something that it is going to be a consistent thing in the future. It's going to continue to be something pretty big. Like I've seen other mid-sized or just full-time authors that really have a strong audience doing Kickstarters, and it's successful because they already have that built-in audience. And that actually leads me to my next question, which comes down to emails. I, in the past year, have learned how valuable an email list is, and I started building up my own email list. And I'm on your email list, so I get your updates. But have you seen any success from the email list? Is it a big one, small one? Are you just growing it, or like how do you run your email list?
Um, Again, just like with the advertising on my first novel, very loosely.
Gotcha.
I'm experimenting right now. I'm trying to see whatever fits, and mailing lists are critical. I'm willing to bet you've read Newsletter Ninja. Amazing book. It's mailing lists also get talked about in From Strangers to Super Fans, which is not a book that I've read, but a book I need to read. So I recognize it's a critical thing, but at the same time, again, I want to have more out so that I have something to keep people around when I start very seriously doing my efforts to draw them in. And until I have more on the writing side to consistently announce, I don't really, I mean, I love my blog.
Yeah.
And I hope that the people who stick around have a good time and do it because at the bare minimum, I make them laugh every week.
Yeah.
But I don't think I don't think that I will leave a good taste in people's mouths if I do a very hard push for my mailing list.
Gotcha.
Until I've got something much more active that'll have a lot more updates. So I probably will get much more serious about that with the Kickstarter, because then like every week I can do a business update. I can do here's how the printer is doing updates. I could go to my sister-in-law and say, do you have some art you want to share this week?
Yeah.
And then I think it'll be a lot more meaningful. But right now it's mostly just me kicking around, having fun. And if people want to stick around and enjoy that with me, then I'm grateful for it.
There you go. I mean, I think if you have fans and if you have those people that like you for you and the stuff you create, just putting out anything, I think people enjoy. Have you thought about maybe, so you can kind of solve this issue of giving people stuff, have you thought of maybe doing like short stories within the world? Or
yeah,
possibly that way you can be like, hey guys, here's my email list and here's a short story for you. Share with your friends for monthly or, however many short stories a month or something like that.
I mean, I don't have enough writing time to do a short story a month or something like that. But like I am actively adding to the stuff for people to read on that site.
Gotcha.
I've got at least off the top of my head, at least one short story. It might be two on the website. I wrote a pretty lengthy article on creating constructed languages and using them in your world building and in your stories. That's up for free on the website.
Nice.
I am slow. I'm each week I'm posting a chapter of the Failed Technomancer on the website. And that's another bit of free marketing. Like people who don't want to spend money on it but are enjoying it, they can get it week by week. And the people who get hooked and don't want to wait, well, I've got a link to the ebook. So go support me.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's smart. And I think if you do decide to push those things, I think intrinsically that'll just set up a really good foundation. And I think those are some really great marketing tactics. You just got to be confident, Boo, and just push it, politely, however you feel comfortable with.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I don't know if this is how things are going to be forever, but I do enjoy. I think there are people who have done stuff like this before, of kind of a webcomic model for books, where you'll do a chapter a week, or you'll like write the entire book and then share a little bit of it, and most of the money that you make is off of people buying physical copies, but they could buy digital if they want to. I'm going to keep experimenting with that because it makes the barrier to entry very low. but again, very business-minded authors like Sanderson have proven there's a very hungry market for specialty editions, for physical editions, for book bundles. And if I can get people hungry with a very low barrier to entry, I'm hoping that that'll be my foot in the door to get a crowd that is able to see, hey, this stuff is good, and that really want to stick around for it.
Yeah. Well, I really think serialized content in form for indie authors in the form of weekly or monthly or whatever. I think it's actually going to make a really big splash in the near future. I could be completely wrong, but just from what I've seen and heard some authors talk about, I think it's actually gonna be a pretty big thing, more than it already is here in the near future. So just that's just my opinions and stuff. So
I've heard about that too, and I think it would be interesting if that happened. It makes me think of television series versus movies. Authors will basically start splitting themselves into the television book camp or the movie book camp.
yeah.
And I think I would describe it, if that is the direction the market moved. I think I would describe myself as a mini series.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. No.
The happy in between is what I would aim for.
Well, and like limited series and miniseries, they do pretty well because people are like, oh, I gotta see it before it's gone or before it's not popular anymore. Yeah.
Catch the zeitgeist.
Exactly. Yeah. Nice. My biggest thing that I'm trying to push right now, just a philosophy, is just build a strong community. Don't try and be the next bestseller. Just build a community that will enjoy your stuff, because it's really hard to become a bestseller and to be a Sanderson or a Martin or a Rothfuss. It's really hard to become a household name. But if you just have that really strong community around you that loves your stuff, like, I feel like that's enough, because just adding a bestseller to your name doesn't really do much. Like, yes, it can help you sell books and get you new people, but like, I would love to just talk to people about my books or be really excited to have this small community. And so at least that's my opinion, but I don't know, I feel like that's kind of something that would work for you as well, as like just a really tight knit, strong community around you.
That's definitely a direction that I want to go. I'm not interested in being a Sanderson superstar. That sounds too exhausting. But I am interested or my hope and prayer is to get to the point where I can make a living off of it, and then I'm happy. Then I'm good.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's I like that. Yeah, I think it'd be cool for a little while to be a superstar author. But man, like for this last Dragons deal, he had to sign 5,000 copies of Defiant, and I'm like, nope, I'm good. I don't want to sit there for hours or days signing copies. I don't care how fast your signature is. That's just insane. Like, that's yeah.
Probably the number one thing that I would want from his position is just the industry connections. That's the number one thing that I would want from his status. Everything else, like, good for him. Glad he's getting what he's wanting.
Yeah.
But like the connections with other authors, the connections with people in different artistic media. Like, I'm definitely a book guy, but I would just kill to have the bargaining power that Sanderson has, where people come to him and are like, we want to do your book, here's money. And he's like, I don't care. I want creative control. And they just don't know what to do with that. And I'm like, that's what I would want from his position.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of it, like, not as into.
You don't want two big houses right next to each other that has an underground movie theater and, like, apparently the best shower of all time. That's what I'm shooting for. I don't know about you, but
my wife would get mad at me. It's too much to clean.
True. Well, at that point, you can just hire somebody to clean it for you. So.
Yeah, that's also true.
Well, coming into the end of the interview here, I want to thank you so much, but I have one final question for you. What have you been reading this year? And I guess part two to that question, what has been some of your favorites, media, video games, just anything that you've consumed?
All right. I'm going to start with books.
Cool.
I am currently reading the Powder Mage trilogy by Brian McClellan.
I just bought the first book at Dragonsteel.
Dude, I missed sleep reading that book.
Oh yeah.
For me, for me, the transition between book one and book two was a little rough,
Okay.
but I still really enjoyed the series after that. And I'm having a really good time. I'm like halfway through book three right now.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
Solid world building, characters that you can love and root for. Um, Really creative but also simple magic. Um, the art, of course, on the cover is gorgeous. If I had one criticism, it would be I feel like Thomas, one of the main characters, is just a little bit too close to Dalinar, just a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
Um, like I'm not gonna lie, I still love him. Don't get me wrong, I still love Thomas, but like it only took 2 or 3 pages of reading him for me to be like, yeah, this guy really likes Way of Kings, Dalinar in particular.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, hey, this he's a cool character. He's
Yeah.
a very
And
well
what's funny
thought
is I don't actually know when the book was published, so like
out.
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
Recall.
yeah, maybe it happened before Way of Kings. I don't actually know.
Well, hey, when I interview him, he said he's down with an interview, so I'll call him out. I'll make sure he knows. Oh man, I can't believe you're a fan of other fantasy books.
Oh, how dare you?
How dare he? Okay,
Um,
nice. And then
yeah.
other media that you've been consuming that's kind of been inspirational for you, or just like that you've just been enjoying. Not everything has to go back to our books and our stories, but just something you're enjoying.
My top video game for the year is Cassette Beasts.
I've heard good
If
things. I've heard really good
if you
things.
grew up with Pokemon and wish that if you wish that the Pokemon formula had actually evolved over the past few decades, Cassette Beasts, boom,
Okay.
right there.
Okay.
Really, really good.
Gotcha.
And a surprisingly emotional story.
I've heard that as well, actually. I've heard that.
And of course, Cassette Beasts, the music's fire.
It would have to be. It would be a really shame if it wasn't good.
And then this is an oldie but goldie. My wife and I discovered the old 2000s television series Eureka this year.
Okay.
And we're having fun with that. And then not a super oldie. I think this one's only a year or so old, but we discovered Puss in Boots: The Last Wish this year, and that might be my favorite movie for the next 2 years, just because they nailed every aspect of it as far as I'm concerned. And Jack Horner is so funny. Their version of the Grim Reaper felt so unique and terrifying, but like I would never describe him as a bad guy. Definitely an antagonist.
That's fair.
But amazing. And I'm hoping before the end of the year to see Godzilla -1. I've heard really good things about that.
Same. I'm a huge kaiju fan. Just Godzilla, Pacific Rim, anything with big robots and big monsters. Like I'm a big fan. I'm sure like many boys and just anybody. But like I've heard really good things about it.
Yeah, I'm not super attached to the monsters themselves. It's the scale that gets me.
Yeah.
I love the awe-inspiring grandeur when a story is able to effectively capture something that's just too big to comprehend.
Yeah, it's pretty terrifying.
Yeah, and humbling.
Yes.
At the same time.
Very much so. Very much so. But about Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, I saw this meme where it was like Death and Shrek are actually exist in the same universe, and I just thought that was hilarious because I'm like, Puss in Boots is in the Shrek universe, so yeah.
Have you seen the movie?
I haven't, but I've heard amazing things. I know I should watch it, but I have not.
Well,
watched it yet.
It ends with them sailing off for far, far away.
Oh,
so
okay.
When they make the next Puss in Boots movie, they're almost certainly going to bring Shrek into it somehow.
Gotcha.
So
nice. Awesome. Well, Boo, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I think this should be a yearly tradition where we catch up, do an interview, see how everything's going with you. Because one day when you're big and a Sanderson, I'm gonna be like, hey, I was there when he first started out. I was there.
I'll just keep giving you shout outs. Let people know about you.
I was there when he had a beard, and now he shaves all the time. And nice. Well, hey, any last shout outs, call outs, anything you would like to tell the world for the people that are listening?
I'm feeling really good about this. So keep an eye on Riders of the Future next year. I'm gonna make you all cry with my epic mouse fantasy short story.
There you go. There you go. Join his email list. Read his blog. He posts really awesome stuff.
Boo Ludlow
There you go.
Books.com.
There you go. It'll all this descriptions in it, or everything will be in the description below, so you guys can access that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. We are restarting the author interviews. We have I can't tell you when, but we are going to have Christopher Paolini on sometime in 2024. Isaac Stewart from the Dragonsteel team. Lots of really cool people, both big and small, in fame and everything, are going to be on here. So thank you guys so much. Look forward to all that. Boo, thank you again, and have a great day, guys.
Have a good one. This was fun.